Welcome, Fahami family. Welcome to our live broadcast from the Fahami Temples of Divine Understanding from in St. Louis, Missouri, World Headquarters. We have a wonderful presentation for you today. Our enlightened or Astamari or lecturer today is Sheikh Amsu Manara. Please stand up and welcome him. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, the viewing audience. I hope each and one of you, all of you, and you too, had a very restful evening. Our lecture this morning concerns a topic that concerns our people very much, but to a great extent they don't seem to be aware of this situation that is going on with them. Most of our people seem to have a low esteem of themselves and their people. They walk around, thinking that they can't accomplish a certain thing. They can't perform a certain job. They're still in a mentality. I don't like to use the term slave mentality, but it seems to be the frame of mind that a lot of our people are still looped and yanked and tied and broke down under, that we are certain second-class citizens. So the lecture this morning I entitled Exaltation. And I entitled it that because all of the Hamites, Kemites, so-called Negroes, should think highly of yourself. And all the black people who have a proper understanding of themselves know what I'm talking about, because they have a proper understanding of who they are. Listen, and listen carefully. La ilaha illallah, Fahami Rasul Lillahira. Exaltation. God, whose proper name is Amun-Ra, is everything good. He is ill, the good God, the Master, and he has many attributes. Everything which is Amun lives and moves. This movement is either quantitative in space and time, or qualitative or formal. That is, it defines space and time. Force, in this case, is Ra. It is considered as an ideal prior to formed substance or matter. Thus, there is apparent life and the life which causes what is apparent. You have apparent life and the substance which makes this thing is what makes it real. But both are still there. But both still exist. The Most High God created gods and goddesses, and men were their offspring. God created gods and goddesses first, and then the gods and goddesses created man. The so-called Negro being of royal blood and their descendants, naturally we inherit our ancient traditions and are born Masons. That is, the ancient Ethiopians, were first a part of the Hamite, royal armies. And evolution said, let us make man. And climate made man through thousands of years in the process. We are the fathers of all mankind. Think for a minute, my brothers and sisters, and understand. Thanks to Fahami, the prophet of understanding, Masonry was our ancestors' way of living and the manner in which they accomplished great and noble things. Time is one of the mighty names or attributes of God. Time is one of the Fahami names for God because time is everywhere, always at the same time. God is eternal. Time is eternal. All men are time's begotten sons, and all women are his daughters. The Ethiopian, the so-called Negroes, must learn to love instead of hate each other. We have to keep revisiting that subject time and time again, because our people still are showing no love or any kind of formal affection for themselves. And we are still the most hated people on the face of the earth. There's a reason for this. We all are the same. I said we all are the same. The Hamites, the blacks, the Ethiopian, the African American. The only way we can learn to love each other is by learning of our own ways of life. Islam is the true way of life. It is that ancient and divine creed of Kim, which is Ethiopia or Egypt. The noble faith of our ancestors. It says in the Holy Bible, princes shall come out of Egypt in the holy land of Ham, which is Africa, which is Egypt. Islam, the protection of the true spiritual God, is the Hamites, so-called Negroes, only salvation. The Ethiopian is dead spiritually and mentally, and he must be revived again. He was revived once upon a time, but now he needs a revival because he has lost touch with his true and proper self. He must be revived back to the realization of one's self. Most people have consciousness, but most people don't have proper self-consciousness. Black people, when they are conscious of another way of being, another way of living, another way of culture. And the chosen are the wise and the doers of good. A people's strength and development depends on the serving of their God, coupled with the support of their God. The Son personified or spoken of as a person is called Christ, anointed King of heaven, the sky, the Lord of hosts, the stars in the sky, God's lion, God's lamb, and other names for the Son of God. And other male and female names. The moon personified is called a woman, is named Isis, Hathor, Mary, Eve, Heth, Astareth, Easter, Esther, wife of God, the Son, mother of God, the Son, the Virgin of heaven, the sky, and other female and male names. This knowledge is not found in the Quran, nor is it found in the Bible, nor was it ever made known before. And Adam and Eve are not the parents of the entire human race. I'll tell that to our people and our listening audiences again. And Adam and Eve was not the father of or the parents of the entire human race. As it is written in Quran and the Bible, but the entire torrid zone was the birthplace of man, as revealed to our Fahami Rasul. Fahami is the greatest system of divine philosophy and education and salvation since the Spirit of God descended in the shape of a dove and lighted upon the souls of Asar and Isis, as you can see today on the rock. Christianity has failed to make our people drop their evil toward each other. We are our own worst enemy, still vainly trying to be something we are not. There is much education among our sisters and brothers, but most of our people have been left lacking in self-preservation training and self-identification training. You ask most of our people how will they survive or who they really are, and they can't give you a good intellectual educated answer to who they actually are, if they really know. The Ethiopian, the African American, is not poor because there are billions of dollars and thousands of acres of land among our people. Still, though, we hate each other. Oh, my beloved sons and daughters of Ethiopia, Islam or Salem is the doctrines of Isis, El, and Amun. Omnipotent High God, Isis, El, Amun spells Islam. And they and their kinsmen Ra gave to mankind all of the world's religions, educations, ethics, and civilizations. Know these things, that you may better understand your worth as a person and the worth of your nation and the part it should play in nature's divine scheme of things. We, those who know among our people, know that we have a divine place in this world. We just have to take our place. It's there waiting on us, but we still refuse to take our divine place in this world. The black in America has been drawn in every nation's way of God and religion, except one of his own making. Our nation must be about the mission of learning to know our true selves. We must give up all that we already know and set up a complete educational system of our own, with a set of ideals, culture, and a civilization of our own, peculiar ourselves. In the affairs of both gods and angels and men, the question seems to be not who is right or the most righteous, nor who is holy or the holiest. The great question in the heavens and in the earth seems to be only this: who shall be the greatest? Who shall lead? Who shall be the boss? So let no man deceive himself. So know ye, all of you, that every people has its own guardian prince or master angel. The Africans everywhere will have to revamp their pre-slavery status. We will have to do over. We will have to make over our pre-slavery status. Didn't say our slavery status, it said our pre-slavery status. We'll have to redo, we'll have to revamp that. That means don't go back to ancient Egypt or go back to the ancient black and try to be like them. Go back to our ancient black brothers and sisters or our ancient black selves and improve on that model. Just don't go back there to be the same. Go back there to improve it and make it new and modern and up to date. Knowledge of the inner self, your intuitional guide, will lead the self-conscious Hamite to right living and successful endeavors. If we would just pay attention to our inner self, which is our intuition, it would be a great help. It would be a great assistance. It would be a great guide when we set out to accomplish a task or accomplish our endeavors. Listen to that inner voice that is within you. Soul force is the greatest power in the world. And whenever any group learns how to apply and use that force, both heaven and earth will obey them. Learn to listen to yourself. Learn to listen to yourself. Self has been with you longer than anything else. So Self has been with you longer than anything else. Before our enslavement and the deceptive influence of foreign cultures, our inner self, our intuitional voice has been our conductor for thousands upon thousands of years, because it's been with us. That inner voice is you. That inner voice is you. You just have to rediscover it. We must regain and use what it is telling us. We must regain and use what our inner voice is telling us. Our conscience acts as an agent of the soul. Our conscience warns us that the soul wishes to speak with us. The Holy Fahmi Rasul informs us, I am convinced that the colored peoples will have to return to their pre-Negro or pre-Christian status. Once again, he says, not to stay there, but to get a fresh and right start. Get a fresh and right start. Let's go back there to times when we were great and study it and look at it from top to bottom and all around. And take the good out of that and bring it and make it new and modern and up to date. And then move ahead. Make the fresh and right start. Because the rest of the world is not going to let him build on their usurped premises, nor let him attach his rooms to our houses. All of you know this. All of you. So please understand, get your own, build your own, because the powers that be are not going to let you establish your room. They say, our prophet didn't say anything about your house. He said they don't even want you room attached to their houses. So get your own, and then you don't have to worry about attaching anything to anything. Proper knowledge of our inner selves keeps the historical lamp of knowledge ever burning among us. I'll say it again. Proper knowledge of our inner selves keeps the historical lamp of knowledge ever burning among us. Because that inner self is you from millenniums ago. You carry that with you from day one. And when you have a proper knowledge of who you truly are, you know that you are the children or the sons or the daughters of the gods, of nobility. So keep that proper knowledge and cultivate it, because it still burns within you. It makes our conscience ever vigilant to the ways and the says of our noble ancestors that is still very much active between us and within us. What can we today, the modern blacks, the Ethiopians, show that even compares with his ancient civilizations? The Fahami, the awakened, the enlightened, is a reincarnation of all the gods of Kim and spokesman for all the goddesses thereof. We offer proof. You and your God are one sense. Be patient. Be patient and think you are exercising common sense. Stay aware and practice the silence. This meditation will enable you to open up your mind and your thoughts to your heart, which will let the God outside of you and the God within you strengthen the spirit of life eternal that is within you. The person who thinks only of poverty will always remain poor. Let prosperity come to you. Quit fighting it. Quit thinking you can't do it. Quit thinking you did the best that a black can do. Quit thinking that you got a good job for a black person. You got a good job for a Negro. Oh, no. You started all of this. So think highly of yourself. Think highly of yourself. The word eternal or eternity has no reference to time. Perpetual motion, turning continually, turning and returning. Eternal as the earth, the sun, the stars, etc. That is what eternal means. Eternal, a turning God or universe. Comb or kingdom, that's you all, means upright, to stand up, to lift up, to be exalted. Jesus did not speak English. I'll tell you again. Jesus did not speak English. Language is the bedrock foundation of culture to a nation. You must have your own language. Culture is the life of a nation. Your history is you. It consists of language, religion, and knowledge of the way a nation lived and what they achieved. Culture is the spiritual guidance to a nation. Culture means to worship your own Most High God, your own virgins, your own saints, gods, and goddesses. Ethiopia and Egypt was one and the same land. And out of that land came forth Zerah or Zur, the Ethiopian, with a host of 1,000,000 soldiers and 300 chariots in 950 BC. In Chronicles chapter 11, verse 9. An army composed of Ethiopians, Egyptians, Nubians, Libyans, and Cushites, all under the banners of Ammon. Colored people are the mixed multitudes of the Holy Writ, also called the mingled people. Sincerity in Salat. Sincerity through God, which is seated in our conscience, gets in touch with the God of the universe, which answers prayer. The angel gets information from the God and tells it to your spirit. The spirit